going to practice watercolor, and I'm going to do that 30 days in a row. One piece every single day. Let's see what we can make of it. Let's start by getting everything ready. I've got this little basket with all my watercolor stuff. As I'm going to do this every single day, I'm also going to film from home, as I am doing today. I bought this little notebook special for the occasion. It's a little bit thinner, but the guy at the shop said, just don't use too much water, it'll be fine. So yeah, let's see if that happens. Let's start with day 1. I'm following a tutorial by Visual Mind. I will link everything down below if you want to follow along. I stuck washi tape on the page, as you can see, and I've just started filling in every little square diamond shape with a different pattern, just to try and experience. It was quite interesting to see that at first I wanted everything to be perfect, but after a while I could let go a little bit, and it's like, no, just fill it in, it's fine, and it doesn't matter. And I'm getting ideas for myself as well, so I didn't have to copy every single thing, but ideas started flowing. So that's quite interesting to know. It was also very interesting to just watch the paint do its thing. So when you put down some water and just a blob of paint, see what happens. It's fun. Ooh, some peely magic here. I did struggle a little bit with the tape sticking too well to the page, so it ripped up a little bit. But besides that, it was quite good. This is the result. That is day 1. Also, clearly I had plans for a transition. I don't remember. So here's another one. Day 2 is also inspired by Visual Mind, same video. And I'm doing sort of gradient background. Now, think about what the salesman said. Not too wet, don't use too much water. Well, I hope the tape helps to keep it a little bit flat, but we'll see. I'm making it dry with a hairdryer because, you know, waiting takes too long. The pen I'm using for this part is a fine liner. And for this, it's fine. Get it? It's fine. But I'm also trying to color in this whole chunk. I want it to be black. And I can tell you a fine liner is not the way to go. So I skipped and did a tree, but that was quite a lot of work as well. There's like a million little branches and it takes forever. So after a little bit, I decided to stop and get my Tata Art acrylic paint pen and started coloring in. Look how fast it goes. That's a lot better. Now that is coloring in. So I use this for the trees as well to get them a bit more, you know, beefy. And I think it looks a little better like that. Adding a couple more trees here and there, and then it's time to look at the sky. I'm adding a nice moon and a bunch of stars. Now, what is too many stars? I added loads. I might have gone a little rogue, but oh well, it's fine. Here's some nice peely magic to make up for all the stars, and there you go. This is actually one of my favorite ones, I think. I really like how it turned out. On to day 3. So as you might have seen, the last peel of the washi tape didn't go very well. There was a lot of rippage of the page. So I'm trying this trick where you stick the tape on the table first and then to the paper, and see if that works a little bit better when it is time to peel off. So we'll see. So interesting fact I ran into, I am right-handed. Melanie of Visual Mind is left-handed. So when I follow her tutorials, she always starts in the right side. For me, it would have been better to start left, but that's something you learn along the way, right? So for this one, I'm making squares, rectangles, triangles, and I'm just stacking them on top of each other. And what do you get? So this is just a bunch of colorful houses. And me not waiting for stuff to dry in between layers and in between, you know, foreground, background. So everything's leaking into everything. I have to fix a bunch of stuff, but it's fine. I'm learning. After fixing some mistakes, drying and peeling up the tape, I'm adding some black lines with the smallest brush I have and some water paints. I didn't want to do water paints at first. I wanted to use the acrylic paint pens, but I thought, let's try it, and it worked absolutely fine like this. For the white, I did use the acrylic paint pens because yesterday's Jelly Roll was struggling with the white on this paint, so I didn't want to do that again. And there we go, I added a little clock and it's finished. Now, what do you think? Is it a kid's drawing? Is it a vibe? I go back and forth, so let me know. Day 4 is gonna surprise you with a different angle. Okay, I'm filming this at home, so I'm trying loads of stuff. The lighting, like it's gonna be 30 days of 30 different lightings, okay? And I'm trying a different angle here. I'm drawing Monstera leaves. Did you know that's just a heart upside down with some chunks out of it? How fun is that? I'm slightly erasing the drawing and then I'm going over everything with some yellow, greens and blue. I did not know that was a thing, but it looks amazing. I love that combination in leaves. There should be blue in every leaf, everywhere, always. I will be using this blue in leaves trick a little later on. I think it's day 10 or something like that. You'll see it happen again. Once it's all dry, I'm adding a little stem to all the Monstera leaves. And I actually love this page. It turned out lovely with all the colors blended in and I really liked it. So the tape trick of sticking it to the table first clearly does not work because it's ripping my whole paper to shreds. So I'll have to try something different next time. But yeah, the result, I love it. What do you think? Day 5, the last day inspired by a visual mind. Today is all about feathers. I'm filling the page with feathers. Colorful ones, nice and neat ones, squiggly ones, anything you can think of. This actually is my favorite one. I love the color, like the bright pink and the purple, and I actually like that at the top it's very neat and at the bottom it goes all poof, it's all fluffy. So yeah, this is one of my favorites. And then there's a bunch more with loads of different colors. I'm just trying things out. Tried to make a peacock feather, failed miserably. Let's not talk about that. Oh yeah, I like this one as well with the different colors of purple with the dots in there. So I added some more dots to other ones as well. It's so fun once you just get going and just do stuff. It doesn't matter. Just fill the page with feathers and there you go. I like it. Which one's your favorite? Day 6, Paintcrush with Kristy Rice. I'm actually filming in my studio today, so there's proper lighting. There you go, enjoy. I'm painting the rim of this glass jar so I can use it sort of as a stamp, and I'm just gonna stick it on the page and I'm gonna use clean water to fill the inside and sort of drag the paint in. Hopefully. Yeah, it sort of works. There you go. How fun is it to watch the paint move around? It's just so nice. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it don't. I think that might be user error, but it's fine. It was a little bit stressful because you had to work kind of fast because you want them to melt into each other, so you don't want them to dry yet. But once you get the hang of it, it's kind of fun. So that's good. I thought this was kind of clever where I did the corner with the tissue around it so it didn't get on my desk. Smart, smart. Of course, I ended up making a big mess. Also on my hands, of course. But the result, I like it. What do you think? Oh, and it's metallic, so it's shiny. How cool is that? Day 7. Today we are starting with a little cup of tea because it fits the page really. I'm not going to spoil what I'm making. Hopefully you can tell, but it is easier than you would think. thank you, Kristy Rice, for this inspiration, because that's amazing. So I'm making the page wet, so there's drips, so not evenly wet. And look, the paint will go whoosh at some points and not so much at others. So there's loads of different things happening. I'm adding some orange, red, some purple, and it's just flowing. Now there's some stems and you might get an idea of what it is. I think I could tell you now. It's a bouquet. And once it's dry, so that's the first layer. And once it's dry, you go over it with slightly darker colors of the same kind. And really, honestly, it's so cute and it's so much easier than you would think. Put some half moons in there, put some squiggly wigglies. These are actually my favorite. Squiggly wiggly. Let's do another one. Whee! They are fun. It's fun to practice them in different directions as well. They look completely different. And there you go, there's a bouquet. And day 8, I loved day 7 so much, I actually made some more. And I made these in postcard size. So I made these 4 in different colors. Let me know which one is your favorite. I have a couple of favorites. I already used 2 of them. I already sent them as birthday cards. So how fun is that? Next up, day 9, inspired by Creative Paula. We are starting off with a lovely rainbow. And again, the sales guy said, don't use too much water. I'm just ignoring this guy. I'm using loads of water. So the cards, the paper is going a little bit wobbly, but I'm just okay with that. I just wanted to do this. So I'm making a rainbow starting with pink and ending with purple. That's what she did, and I actually kind of like that, so I did it as well. And once this is dry, I'm using my fine liner to go over any sort of edge I see, and I just draw that edge. I'm not happy with all the lines, like the ones that look like they go the wrong way. I didn't really like those. I make some of the lines thicker. Again, I'm using a fine liner, not a great choice, but I'm just trying to add and add and add, because I feel like once you do something wrong-ish, if you add more of that, it doesn't look like it's wrong anymore. So I just keep adding and adding and adding and adding. And it actually turned out okay, I think. What do you think? I just love that it's vibrant and bright. That makes me happy. Day 10. I have a little confession about this one. This is late at night, right before bedtime. So I did rush this one a little bit too much, I think. I'm not happy about every step, but it's the best I could do late at night. I'm just starting with some asterisk shape, and these shapes I rushed a little bit. But spoilers, it ends up quite all right, so no worries. I added some leaves around them. If you didn't guess, they will be flowers. And once it's dry, I'm going over there with the fine liner and just making some centers and trying to draw all the leaves. And this is where you see me struggle, like what is a leaf and what is not, which one is in front of what one. I'm just getting confused. So this is my first flower, and then I'm going over that line again, but I'm making it squiggly. And then I'm going over that again to make it thicker. Again, a thicker pen would have been better. I don't have that. I have a fine liner, so I do it the hard way. And then I do another squiggly line to finish off the leaves. And I'm adding some more black in the center. And then I'm just doing all the other ones. They're a little bit wonky, but overall, if you see them all together, I think it looks kind of nice. It could be like a wrapping paper or something, right? It looks so nice. It's colorful, it's bright, can't go wrong with flowers. So I think it's quite all right for a late night project. On to day 11. Another Creative Paula inspiration. I'm making a circle whilst wearing my new bathrobe I got for Christmas. It's very nice. I'm making a bunch of circles and coloring them in and then dropping in a paint of a different color. I should have mixed some colors for a better gradient, but I didn't. So I'm starting off with purple in the top row, and I sort of regret that I did pink and blue, but it's fine. There's blue in the second row with green in it, and then green in the third row with yellow in it, and then yellow in the bottom row with orange in it. I had to let that dry, and then I filled every single circle with different lines and squiggles and whatever you could think of. Again, at first I had to copy Paula, and after a while I got some ideas of my own. I love how inspiration works. And there you go. I wish I made the circles bigger. I don't like this page, but it's fine. On to the next day, day 12. Let's make this one pretty. And pretty it will be. We are in the studio, so there's good lighting, hooray. And we're going for blue today. This brush was not working with my watercolor, so I wasn't happy with how much paint was on the paper, so I tried to go over it, but it just doesn't. Just do one line. That's the best thing you can do. Don't try and fix it. I'm just putting lines all over the page until the whole page is full of these thick light blue lines. I'm only using blue, so it's monochromatic, and I really like the idea of this. It's quite simple, but it works. On top, once it's dry, on top, I'm making some leaves. I'm really enjoying following along all these tutorials like this one, and it's so inspirational. Like, you can think of 5 other things to make after you follow along one of those tutorials. So I can really recommend, and look, it's just nice. That's what you make. How cool is that? Day 13, negative space. I'm starting off with a gradient, and on top of that I need to put a shape. So I thought about doing butterflies. I thought that might be a nice little wink to the gift I made for Secret Santa for Creative Paula, but that might be too complicated, too messy. So I went a little bit simpler with circles. So I drew some circles, and now I'm painting all around the circles. So everywhere that's not a circle is getting some black paint. After that layer, I need to draw in some more circles in different shapes and sizes. Well, the same shape, different sizes. And then I'm going over everything that is not a circle again. So the first circles and the second circles, I'm going over or around everything really, with another layer of black, a little bit darker this time. Then some more circles, you guessed it, and some more paint. Again, going over it all around the circles of all the layers. Guess what? Some more circles. And I think this is my final layer. So I'm going over this one twice to make it as black as I can. And this is the result. This was a lot harder than I thought, and it looked a bit more messy than I would have hoped. Oh well, maybe my expectations were a little bit too high. Next, day 14 with Andrea Nelson Art. I made such a mess with this one, but let's start at the beginning. First, there's a squiggly line. A bunch of squiggly lines, and I'm mixing it up by going from the other direction to get slightly different squiggles, which really works really well. And once you fill the whole page with squiggles, you go back and decide it's not right. There was one part that was a little bit flat, so I made that more squiggly, and then I'm happy. Time to paint a lovely gradient, starting with pink. Slowly moving to purple. Everything is well, and then I start panicking. I don't have enough space. I'm going too slow. So I basically skip blue. And once I'm at green, I think, no, I have time. I have space. I have loads of time. So there's loads of green, but there's hardly any blue. So I really struggle with making it even. But the second time around, I had loads of space for blue to make up for it. I do rush right to the end to get red in to make it sort of full circle. And then I do this. I mess up the orange. Why did I do that? It was fine. So I had to fix that. Also, I end up smudging it with my sleeve. I was impatient, so I started erasing the squiggly lines, and there you go. I smudged the blue. The little blue that was there, I ruined it. So I had to fix that as well. I think the big lesson here is things are not meant to be perfect. These lines were imperfect, and because they were all imperfect, they were perfectly imperfect together. So stop fixing it. It's not making it better. And there you go. Mistakes and all, I still really like this page. Day 15, again, inspired by Andrea Nelson Art. This was such a fun one, and it turned out surprisingly well. I mean, she promises you that it will turn out well, but, you know, does it really? Yes, in this case, yes. Go try this one. I'm using the cheapest paint there is in the world, and I managed to make it look like this. Okay, I'm making an avocado, right? I'm just doing what she says, but I'm using crappy paints and I'm using crappy brushes and all those things, and I still managed to do this. So go try this one. It's such like a boost for your confidence. I promise. Look, it's starting to actually look like an avocado. That's so cool. I was actually, looking back now, I'm still a little bit impressed with myself. So yeah, this was a fun one, and I'm very proud of the results. In the end, I'm just playing around with a little bit of shadows, trying to get the colors right. I wasn't really happy with that, but it's fine. And some splatter and some sort of imperfections on there. And it makes it look really good, I think. Yeah, how cool is that? It's an avocado. Well, it's half an avocado. Day 16, inspired by Andrea Nelson Art. We're starting off with our paint pen, our acrylic paint pen, black, and we're making squiggles. Going back and forth, making squiggly lines, squiggly wiggly, all over the page. Make it random, even though that's hard. Then I'm making half a circle right above all the squigglies. Yes, I did this to dry it. Lines, because I've got those right lines from the circle, and then I'm making all the corners rounded. After that, I'm making some lines thicker, which is the wrong order. Believe me, do the thicker ones first and then round the corners. Then I'm just gonna fill it in with different kinds of blue, starting off with some light colors, putting some darker colors in, and it's starting to look a little bit like a sea or an ocean, or whatever you want to call it. Water. I'm leaving some of the blotches white, and the sun will be yellow, of course, with different colors for the rays of sunshine. So that's going to be yellow and orange and everything in between. And suddenly I saw these two white spots. If I turn the page, tell me it does not look like a fish. It looks like a fish, so I'm making it a goldfish. So there you go, a little orange goldfish in the middle of the sea. I really like how this page turned out, and the fish is kind of cute. Day 17, the last one inspired by Andrea Nelson Art. I'm starting off with a little pizza slice and two triangles on top, some squigglies underneath, and of course it will need a little tail. Now I ended up doing this quite small. As you can see, I'm zoomed in quite far. It should have been quite a lot bigger, that would have been better, but you know, can't win them all. So I'm making this line and then putting some water on top of it or over it or above it. There you go, above it. And then I'm dragging the paint towards the sky, but I clearly did not use enough paint. So I'm adding some more, and you can already see the paint like flowing towards the sky. It's supposed to look like a nice snowy landscape. I really like this technique though. I like the look of it. I think you can use it for loads more different things as well, not just a snowy landscape. But I don't think I did it very well. Also, I forgot a little step, I'll tell you in a bit. I'm adding some white splatter, but my white's nowhere near opaque enough, so it doesn't really do anything. Black outline for the fox. Everything here is followed from the tutorial, so nothing is like originally mine. It's all her idea. I'm just trying to copy, basically. This is the step I forgot. So with the paint on your brush from the sky, you should have done the snow. I didn't. So there you go. Some splatters which went everywhere. Everywhere. Literally everywhere. So I don't know if I should do that again. But yeah, it does look like snow and I do like the painting in the end. I wish I made the fox a little bit bigger though. But oh well. Day 18, and the next creator we're gonna follow along with is Chantelle Arts. First, I'm wetting the page completely. Then I'm putting some paint on it, a little blob and another blob, filling in the blob, giving it some pointies, and it should go like fuzzy, like fur. Now, for this one, it didn't really work for me, so I tried to like manually make it more fuzzy with like a paper towel and dapping it away. It didn't really work. But look at this one, the small one. I'm trying again. Look how fuzzy it goes. Look, straight away. I'm doing the same thing. Maybe I'm using more paint, more water. I don't know. I'm still learning, that's clear. But this one is so fluffy. So I'm making another one, see what happens. Fluffy again. Just look at that paint for a second. How much it spreads on its own. I'm not doing anything. Well, I'm adding more, but ignore that. It just grows by its own, and that's what the fluffy is, right? So now there's two little cat creatures, in case you didn't guess. They are cats. Look how fluffy they are. The front ones, the small ones, they are majorly fluffy. So that technique does work, but it might need a little bit of practice, because with the big one, I think I just didn't use enough paint or didn't use enough water. I'm not exactly sure, but the two small ones were better. I'm just filling in some details to make it fun and call it finished and say I learned something. I really like the two at the front. This is so cool. Day 19, again, Chantelle Arts. I'm making the page wet again with some clean water. Yes, you saw that, right? And I'm filling the page starting with blue, then a sort of blue-green, and then in the corner there's some yellowish color. So this will be the sky, the sea, and the sand, the beach. So to create clouds, she gives you this technique with a paper towel where you just dap away some of the blue paint and that will create clouds. Now, I didn't do it very well the first time, so I put some more paint on and tried again. Second time around, I think that looks like clouds a little bit, so I like that. And the other technique she gives you is to take a jelly roll and scribble along the edge of the sea, where the sea meets the beach, and that will look like sea foam. How cool is that? It's so like simple, and I was very impressed. Just look at this face. That's my impressed face. Didn't expect that, but I'm impressed. See? I like this one. Simple and fun. Day 20, inspired by Chantelle Arts. For this one, I'm mixing up some paint. I'm going for blue and purple and green colors. And I'm just making lines. A couple of lines in the same color that sort of form an area. And then another bunch of lines in a different direction. When I started, I was so slow and meticulous. Is that the word? About every single line. I do get a little bit faster, so that's good. But for now, I'm speeding up some footage for you. This one gave me an insight to my brain. Chantelle says, there's no way you can do it wrong. However, my brain told me I'm doing it wrong about 328 times. Like, the shapes are wrong, the stripes go the wrong way, you have the wrong brush, you started on the wrong side of the page. But I managed to shush it a bit and it turned out fine. I did stick my hand in the wet paint bottom right, so maybe I have to agree that I did start on the wrong side of the page. But that's all. The rest was rubbish. And look how much faster my lines were at the end. Here's that impressed face again. This is a good one to not only practice painting, but also practice to get your brain to shush for a bit. Day 21, inspired by Chantelle Arts. So this first layer, it took me a while to figure out, but I thought it was just water, but it is a very, very light blue. I'm drying it with a hairdryer, and then I'm making blobs on top of that with a slightly darker blue. So can I just say, if you made it this far, could you post a blue heart in the comments? And then I'm just filling up the whole page with blobs, not hearts, blobs. And then I'm going over that with a darker blue. Again, I'm making these blob shapes, but this time I'm only painting on the first blobs, if you know what I mean. Just look at what I'm doing. It was very complicated. I'm not actually sure if I did it right, but yeah, I'm trying to make it work. In my head it works, but other moments it doesn't. So it's really hard to tell. And then there was this lovely moment where my camera decided to stop. But this is the end result. Tell me, does this look like water or not? I'm not sure. I'm going back and forth. Maybe I did it wrong. Let me know what I did wrong. Day 22, our last day by Chantelle Arts. Well, sort of our last day. I'll explain in a bit. She says to make a simple drawing with masking fluid. So, I made a not so simple drawing with masking fluid, not at all centered on the page, and I did not forget to tape the edges before I started. That was an artistic choice that I had to fix later. Let me tell you the best way to peel your tape. Heat it up. Listen, I've been doing this now for 20 something days, and this is the way to go. Heat the tape up a little bit and it will come right up without tearing up the page. And I'm just rubbing off all the masking fluid for some nice peely action. Talk about peeling action, look at this. Everything is coming up at the same time. This is crazy, it's like half the page. Okay, so while I peel, I think this page turned out okay. It's definitely not my favorite, but it gave me an idea for something else to try. So let's go try that. Day 23, inspired by yesterday's painting, and that was inspired by Chantelle Arts. So I'm thinking, what if underneath the masking fluid is rainbow instead of just white? So I'm making a nice rainbow background and I'm painting on with masking fluid. Now, this is not easy because, it's just not. So I'm making it deliberately uneven, all the hearts. So, I don't have to try and make it all even. Putting some black paint on top and rubbing off all of the hearts one by one. And look, I think I like this one better than the last one. So that's kind of cool. On to day 24, inspired by Rebel Unicorn Crafts. I'm using one of those brushes that can hold water, and I picked 3 colors to use, just 3. And I'm going to make circles on the page, not even washing my brush in between. Just don't think, just do. I love this one, it's good for the brain. Just making circles, make them blend with each other. Maybe some of them have dried, maybe some of them haven't. Just keep making circles. The only thing I was struggling with is that my watercolor seems to be falling apart. So there's loads of chunks in there. That's chunks of watercolor. That's just not blending. I don't know. It might be time for a new one and maybe for an upgrade. Now, she filled the whole page, but I decided to keep going. So I have a couple more layers that I'm just doing the same thing, just circles on top of each other. I kept going until I felt it was finished. And I just want to say this was so inspiring. I want to do a full sketchbook with this. Also, I want to try this on black paper. I don't know about watercolor on black paper, but otherwise acrylic paint pens or colored pencils, I don't know. But I want to keep this going. Birthday cards, everything. I clearly need more circles in my life. Day 25, another one by Rebel Unicorn Crafts. This one was a lot of fun to do. I'm not sure about the result though, but I think I might need a nicer paint and maybe a better brush. Probably, for sure, probably. Everything's very wet, so colors would run into each other. And the goal was to keep going and finish before it dries up. So that's what I'm doing. And it's really fun to see all the colors like moving about for like quite a while. And so where the water moves, the pigment would move that way. And I decided to not completely fill the page, but make it sort of this organic kind of shape. But I really enjoy how there's like purple and orange and green, which I did not put on the page, but it just was there. I just used pink, blue and yellow. So this was fun. I like this one. Also, another very nice one for the brain. This is the result. What do you think? Is it nice? I don't know. It was fun to do. When I got this sketchbook for this project, I also got this dotting card by Daniel Smith. I've been using this cheap paint, and when I was in the shop, I actually asked for some Van Gogh paint dotting card, but he didn't have that. He did have Daniel Smith. And he did say something along the lines of, if you start using this, you'll be spoiled forever. So let's try it. Let's see what happens. Day 26, inspired by Emma Jane Lefebvre. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Today I'm making a heart and another heart, because I want to do it twice. Once with the cheap paints I have been using and once with the dotting card of Daniel Smith. So what I'm doing is I'm making the heart all wet with clean water and I'm just dropping in some paints. Look how it keeps moving. It's so fun. I was actually pleasantly surprised with the way the cheap one worked. I think it looks kind of nice. Emma did do some sort of tilting of the paper and mine does not do the same as hers. So that's a big difference. Now for the Daniel Smith, first I thought it wasn't working. But I think I'm struggling with some user error. I'm pretty sure maybe I need more water or more paint. Can't really make the soup like with the cheap one because it's only a dollop on paper. It might be a bad brush. It might be my skills. I'm working on it. I must say it does keep moving for longer, so that's quite interesting. I'm not sure. This is my I'm not sure face, and I'm not sure. Which one do you prefer? Day 27, inspired by Rebel Unicorn Crafts. This one was late at night, so that's not really a good sign. I feel like I might have been rushing a little bit, and I feel like I picked the wrong colors together. I do not like this. So this is what I did, peeling the first layer of tape. There was 2 layers to get sort of an extra border. And the idea is to put some color on top of it, but my colors underneath were very bright already, so I don't know why that is. So this is what I did. And I didn't like it. So I tried to fix it with some acrylic paint markers. Now this is gold and it's sort of shimmery, sort of metallic. So I'm just putting some circles and some dots on there and hoping it works. It gives me 70s vibes. I don't like it. Let's quickly move on to 28, day 28, inspired by Rebel Unicorn Crafts. Today, I'm dropping the blue. So I'm going with greens and some orange and some yellow. And I'm just making squares and rectangles. I'm just filling the whole page with them. And it's sort of a little bit seasonal, this page, but that's fine. And after it's all dry, I'm just going to make some ribbons. I'm just adding ribbons all over it. They're all slightly different. And it's gonna be a page full of gifts. I kind of like this. It's sort of whimsical. And I'm glad there's no blue in this one because that made it bad in the last one. So yeah, just a fun page of Christmas gifts. I think I should have made the squares a bit bigger there, but that's fine. This is fun. Day 26, inspired by Tata Art Corner. Tata, I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing everything wrong. This is not really a tutorial or anything. I'm just trying to follow along. I'm doing a little triangle and a circle. I'm doing this in watercolor, which is not helpful because then I'm not allowed to touch it with any of the other watercolor until it's dry, and I did not wait for it to dry. So I try avoid it, but then I make this mistake. And there goes all the black all over the page, so I have to fix that. I was really struggling with waiting for the paint to dry, so I thought it might be nice to have a little practice and try some different ways of painting this bird. It's a bird. I mean, it's a robin. I hope you guessed this by now. If not, I need to work on my painting a little bit more. But I'm trying some different techniques, some different ways, some different colors and everything. I'm also trying fine liner for the eyes and all the black bits instead of the paint. That helps as well. And this is the result, just a couple of birds. I kind of like this one actually. Which one's your favorite? And then it's time for our very last day, day 30. Today I'm trying to follow a tutorial by Matthew Palmer, and I'm using my fancy paints this time. I did shy away a little bit from them, but I'm trying. I'm making little puddles of paint and trying to see if I can make this beautiful tree beautiful. I used this tiny brush for the trunk and all the branches, and now I'm trying to fill up this fan brush, one side with a light green and the other side with a dark green, and just brushing it over the page. I clearly didn't have enough paint, so I'm making more, but because I only have those small little dollops, I'm trying to make it like straight onto the brush. It's a way to try it. Again, did not have enough. Still trying to squeeze out some grass. I actually kind of like the look of that though, so that's a good thing. Just trying to refill, making the tree, putting the little blobs that he says at the end. Okay, look, it looks nothing like his. Look at this grass though. It's magical grass. This is so good. I overdid it a bit, but I think it looks good. This is one of those pieces where you clearly are not making it better if you keep touching it. So I had to stop myself, but there you go. Again, perfectly centered on the page. I'm learning. This was day 30. Let's see what we did in 30 days with a little flip through. It's so fun to have like a full book with all your watercolors you made. And it went really fast because you're doing one every single day. And there's loads of new ideas as well. So if I flip through, I'm like, oh, I want to do that. Oh, yeah, that I wanted to do. Oh, that. Go do this. It's fun. If you want to follow along the videos that I've used, I'll make a playlist and link it right up here. All of them are in there, so enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!